The Russian army has a very difficult situation in the Kursk region near the settlement of Tetkino. Ukrainian forces are advancing. The Russian armed forces are operationally surrounded. The Z Resource Northern Channel associated with the Russian army wrote about this. According to the channel, the Ukrainian armed forces have already broken through to the center of the village of Tetkino. The situation in the Tetkino direction is extremely difficult. The enemy is attacking almost without interruption. The Ukrainian armed forces have advanced to the center of Tetkino as well as from the southeast to Popovo-Lezhachi. In fact, all roads are cut off. Drones and artillery of Ukrainian armed forces make any attempts to supply suicidal. Our forces, mainly paratroopers, are in operational encirclement, wrote Z Channel. It is noted that despite the catastrophic situation, the command of the Russian armed forces does not give permission for the withdrawal of forces. Also, measures to strengthen the group in this area are not being taken. The Ukrainian OSINT project, Deep State, has not yet confirmed the information. According to its map, the Ukrainian armed forces control slightly more than 11 square kilometers of Kursk region territory in this area. At the same time, another 10 square kilometers are designated as a combat zone which is not controlled by either side. Recall in late March, Russian Chief of General Staff Valery Gerasimov, talking to Russian President Vladimir Putin, claimed that Russian forces have completely liberated Kursk Oblast from Ukrainian troops. Ukraine, however, continues to control small parts of Kursk Oblast, conducted small-scale incursions into nearby Belgorod Oblast, and now also attack Tetkino in southwestern Kursk Oblast. In addition to Tetkino, Ukrainian forces reportedly launched mechanized assaults on nearby Novyi Put, located east of Tetkino, along the international border. Russian sources reported repelling those attacks and stated that Ukrainian troops used mine-clearing equipment to breach defensive lines. One Russian source claimed Ukrainian forces had taken Novyi Put, while others said the assault was unsuccessful. Meanwhile, elements of the Russian 98th VDV Division are reportedly operating near Tetkino, according to Russian mill bloggers. Recently, Ukrainian military personnel using the HIMARS multiple launch rocket system accurately hit the location of Russian occupiers in Koronevo, Kursk region. As a result, grey-pink building with a section on the second floor almost completely destroyed. According to preliminary data, this building housed a permanent deployment point for Russian military personnel.
Russia bombarded 6 regions of Ukraine in one of its largest aerial attacks of the 3-year war, Ukrainian officials said Friday. According to Associated Press, the nighttime assault lasted for hours and killed 3 emergency responders in the capital Kiev, according to authorities. In total, there were over 400 drone strikes and more than 40 missiles, including ballistic missiles, said President Volodymyr Zelensky, speaking at the International Summit of Cities and Regions in Kiev. The Russians even burned down another warehouse with humanitarian aid, he added. Ukrainian forces said they shot down about 30 of the cruise missiles and up to 200 of the drones. The war has continued unabated even as a US-led diplomatic push for a settlement has brought 2 rounds of direct peace talks between delegations from Russia and Ukraine. The negotiations delivered no significant breakthroughs, however, and the sides remain far apart on their terms for an end to the fighting. Zelensky renewed a call for assistance, brokering a ceasefire at the summit. The most important thing we can achieve together is to end the war with a decent peace and create reliable security guarantees for Ukraine and for all of Europe. So that no one in Europe is afraid of being left without protection, he said, asking allies to impose new sanctions on Russia. Ukrainian cities have come under regular bombardment since Russia invaded its neighbor in February 2022. The attacks have killed more than 12,000 civilians, according to the United Nations.
континент, так і загалом за одну цю ніч було більше 400 ударних дронів, більше 40 ракет, в тому числі балістичних ракет. Цим ударом росіяни пошкодили в Києві житлові будинки, звичайно, а вже ж, звичайно, міську інфраструктуру. В Луцьку, на Волині вони зруйнували, зокрема, звичайний готель, в якому були українські спортсмени. В інших регіонах є пошкодження, на жаль, і житлової інфраструктури, і енергетичної інфраструктури, промислових підприємств. Росіяни спалили навіть черговий склад з гуманітарної допомоги. Взагалі, на жаль, нічого не... Найвагоміше, що ми можемо досягти разом, це завершення війни достойним миром та створення надійних гарантій безпеки для України і для всієї Європи. Так, щоб ніхто в Європі не боявся залишитись без захисту. І ми можемо це зробити. Будь ласка, прошу, підтримуйте всі зусилля заради цілком справедливого тиску на Росію. Підтримуйте дипломатію, політичний та економічний тиск. Будь ласка, закликайте до нових дієвих санкцій проти Росії, їх режиму, заради припинення вбивств, припинення ударів, заради досягнення справжнього миру, заради того, щоб відповідальність Росії за війну дійсно відчувалась.
The American press writes that the Houthis, whom we often call the guys in slippers, have effectively forced the American Navy to curtail all its major operations in the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Reporters Stephen Callin and Shelby Holliday write on the pages of the Wall Street Journal that now the American command is forced to adjust the presence of US warships in the specified waters so that they do not become targets for missiles and drones. The article recalls that the aircraft carrier USS Harry S. Truman lost 3 carrier-based fighters in less than 5 months. One of the incidents occurred on May the 6th, precisely while performing a combat mission in the Red Sea. This is despite the fact that the aircraft carrier Harry S. Truman arrived in the Red Sea in December 2024 to fight militants linked to Iran. But in the end, a ceasefire had to be agreed upon. And the crash of the F/A-18 Super Hornet occurred after the ceasefire with the Houthis was reached by the US administration. The Wall Street Journal says, at the same time, the same publication writes that the plane slipped off the deck into the sea, and what does this have to do with the Houthis? The Wall Street Journal ultimately concludes that Yemeni rebels scared the United States, thereby changing the course of the naval war in the Red Sea in their favor. At the same time, American experts fear that the same Houthis could carry out their own attacks against American nuclear carriers in the Middle East using SBU's Special Operations Spider's Web experience. In particular, the opinion is expressed that pro-Iranian forces can attack airfields with American F-35 fighters or aircraft carriers with the same 5th-generation fighters on board, capable of carrying tactical nuclear weapons. Ukraine launched Operation Spider's Web, a meticulously planned drone assault targeting 4 Russian air bases, Olenia, Belaya, Ivanovo, and Dyagilevo on June the 1st, 2025. The operation, personally overseen by President Volodymyr Zelensky, involved the deployment of 117 drones, resulting in the destruction of over 40 Russian military aircraft, including strategic bombers such as the Tu-22M3, Tu-95, and the A-50 AWACS.